10 things people say that is offensive and racist to black people, and other minorities in some cases. Number 1, you don't sound black. Number 2, white privilege doesn't exist. Number 3, all lives matter. Number 4, can I touch your hair? Number 5, I don't see color. Number 6, saying stuff like, what up, my brother, when you would never say that otherwise, especially to another white person. Number 7, when someone says, hey, where are you from? And I respond, I'm from New York. And then they go, no, where are you actually from? Number 8, you're hot for a black guy. Number 9, your name is so hard to pronounce. Can I call you something else? Number 10, starting any sentence with, I don't want to sound racist, but nothing. You're going to say something racist. Now, this wouldn't be a very helpful video if I didn't explain why these things were problematic. So, as usual, I'm trying to do my part and help educate people on things that maybe they never have thought about before. So let's break it down one by one. Number 1, you don't sound black. So what should I sound like? If you say this, whether you like it or not, you're implying that I am not fitting into your preconceived notion of what a black person should sound like. And you're responding this way because you're surprised that I don't fit into your racist ideals. So even if you mean it as a compliment, it's actually pretty hurtful. Number 2, white privilege doesn't exist. 1, yes it does, and you should acknowledge it. 2, there are different levels that need to be addressed. On a macro level, that is going through and figuring out how we can disassemble the system that has been historically made to oppress and keep people of color down. On a micro level, it might be something as simple as you never having to think or second guess that the color of your skin is why you didn't get that job offer or why you didn't get approved for a mortgage, because that's something that people like me have to think about. There's all different types of white privilege. Number 3, all lives matter. I'll put it really simply. If someone has breast cancer and they have someone advocating for them, you wouldn't go up to them and say, hey, why don't you start talking about colon cancer or prostate cancer? Because that would be really rude. That person is focusing on the issue that is happening right now, and you shouldn't derail them. And that's the same exact thing for Black Lives Matter. Until Black Lives Matter, all lives can't matter. That's the point. We're not saying other lives don't matter. We're saying that we want to be included in the all lives matter. Number 4, can I touch your hair? Short answer, no. The long answer is, for 1, you're breaking all sorts of personal boundaries by trying to, or even getting close to, touching someone's hair. And I say that part because I know a lot of people, and this has happened to me, that will just reach out and try to touch my hair. Don't do that. When a black person hears this, it feels like you're saying, whoa, you're so exotic and different, like something that should be on display. Can I touch your hair? And that might not be what your intention is, but that's how we feel. This goes back to slavery, right? When we were treated as property or something to be looked at or gazed at. So this is much more of a deep-rooted situation than just trying to figure out what someone else's hair is like. And you can Google that sort of thing. You can figure it out in other ways. Just be sure to be respectful of people's personal space and the history behind it. Number 5, I don't see color. You need to see color because we are legitimately different. If you are a white person saying this and you say, I don't see color, then like, what's going on? I am clearly a different color than you are. By saying this, you're also not acknowledging our differences. And if you don't acknowledge your differences, then you're not going to be able to understand things from my viewpoint. When we say that we feel uncomfortable because of the cops, it's because we have a history with it, right? A history of violence, and it's scary. So if you're saying, I don't see color, like we're all the same, then you don't acknowledge that we have different experiences. Number 6, saying stuff like, what up, my brother? I'm gonna read a quote because I think this explains it very well. It's claiming familiarity and intimacy that they do not have. If a person hasn't really interacted with black people before, they are unconsciously overcompensating for trying to make a connection and assuming that's how black people talk. Basically, if you don't say this to anyone else, don't just assume that that's how you should be talking to people of color. Asking where people are from. Curiosity isn't inherently bad, but ask yourself why you want to know. And especially if they already give you an answer. When people ask me repeatedly, it feels like they're questioning why I'm here, or I don't belong, or I'm not American. Americans look like anyone and everyone because we are a nation of immigrants. So if I say, hey, I'm from New York, then obviously that's what I identify with. If we get into a deeper conversation about our heritage, then yeah, sure, you can ask about where my family is from, but don't second guess or question when people are telling you and you choose to assume that there's a deeper something deeper there. You're hot for a black guy. This is an interesting one because I've had this happen, or a version of this happen, a bunch in college. And basically it's insinuating that other black people are unattractive. But you, oh no, you, for a black person, wow, you look pretty good. This perpetuates the underlying belief that people of color do not match up to the whitewashed beauty standards of the world today, which we see a lot with issues in the fashion world and just about everywhere else apparently. Your name is so hard to pronounce. Can I call you something else? This is just rude. For me personally, it was fine because Sajisman, nobody called me that, so I always would follow up with call me Ikey because that's what everyone calls me. But for other people, their name is part of their identity, and for you to not even try to pronounce it is just plain rude. Make an effort. If you don't get it on the first try, they probably have other people have a tough time pronouncing it, so do your best to just try to understand and say it. Don't assume you can make up a nickname for them. Starting a sentence with, I don't mean to be racist, but if you start by saying that what you say might be racist, that's acknowledging that you know what you're saying is going to be offensive. Let's use a fun example. If I were to say, I don't want to sound hungry, but if you were to put a hamburger in front of me, I would eat it in 0.5 seconds. That would be me acknowledging that that second half of the sentence is going to make me sound hungry, but I don't want to sound hungry, right? That's a silly example, but it should drive the point home pretty clearly. As usual, I'm making these videos to try to help you to think differently, to explore and understand the situation and the viewpoints of others, right? So that's why I wanted to share this. But more importantly, I really wanted to explain each one because a lot of these things most people don't address or even understand. So it's all about getting us to understand the bigger picture. If you or someone you know says something like this, please call them out and just explain calmly that that could be and probably is offensive to someone that looks like me. Or that doesn't look like me. It's just wrong to say anyways. Don't say that to your friends either. We can't learn if no one tells us that we're doing something wrong. Peace out. Okay. All done.